I paused at the top of the stairs, looking down the long hallway. Dark and abandoned as usual. I almost never saw anyone up past the 3rd floor except after school. The emptiness always made it feel 10 times creepier, or the way my footsteps would echo back to me as if there was someone behind me, or the way some of the side hallways were so dark. I walked quickly to the club room, trying to not pay attention to any of it. To my surprise, Danny was sitting on the sofa when I entered. How did you beat me here? He smiled as soon as he saw me. Wait, how did he... Allie and I left first, and I'd come straight upstairs.
Hey there.
Hi. I wasn't expecting to see you here. Usually, the only people I could expect to see in the morning were William or Ewan. Rarely, Mark.
Well, I do spend at least a little time up here, you know. Sometimes.
Not usually in the mornings, though. Besides, how did you even get here before me?
Long story.
I made a face at him. It couldn't be that long of a story.
I can leave if you'd rather be alone. I just came up because I don't have much else to do.
No! It's not that I want you to leave. I just didn't expect to see you. But don't you have football practice or something?
Actually, I quit the team the week you arrived.
He did? I'd heard he was practically indispensable. The star, the captain, whatever. But why? Why would you do that? He smiled at my incredulity, but it quickly faded.
Actually, it was getting a little hard to conceal that I'm not really human.
Oh. I wasn't sure what to say to that.
I'm a lot stronger and faster than a normal human. I've been trying to restrain myself so it's not noticeable, but it just isn't easy to keep that up for a long time.
He shrugged and smiled slightly as if it was no big deal, but I didn't think it could have been a shrug and move on sort of decision. Not just because it probably entailed saying goodbye to some impressive scholarships. Besides, he loved sports. Everyone around school always talked about how talented he was. I went to retrieve the books I usually used for research. Maybe it was just me, but it felt like he was struggling to keep the smile on his face. I wasn't sure what to say.
Yeah, can you, get that book?
I mean, he already said he's been struggling for a while. I can't do the middle option apparently, but I'm not gonna do the middle. I mean, we did say he could talk to us, so... I can't say that I know exactly how you feel, but you can talk to me about it if you want to. Danny smiled sweetly.
Thanks. That means a lot. Though there's not really much to talk about. Eventually, people start noticing your performance is way above average, and they start asking questions. Questions that I can't answer to anyone's satisfaction.
But I mean, just asking questions.
I hate rumors. Having people doubt me or whisper behind my back just makes being part of the team stressful. Not just for me. It puts stress on everyone.
What kind of rumors?
Let's just say that when people start questioning if maybe you're taking something, or they're wondering why an injury that should have put you out of commission for a month barely even fazed you, well, I guess that means it's time to just bow out.
People were saying things like that? That's ridiculous. How could they just... I stopped myself there before I descended into an angry rant. Anyone who knew Danny should know better. Heck, I barely knew him and I knew better. I mean, there are tests for that kind of thing too, right? He gave me a really sad look. Seeing him look like that was like a punch in the gut.
If I have to take a blood test to prove myself, then I don't see a reason to stick around. Besides, blood tests don't always stop rumors.
But if it meant you got to keep playing...
Even if I'm not doing anything I shouldn't, being a werewolf does give me an unfair advantage. If I passed a drug test, I'd still feel like I was deceiving everyone.
That's not fair. You shouldn't have to feel guilty just for being you. Everyone has advantages and disadvantages based on who they are. You're no different.
I am different, though. That's the problem. To be honest, I think it's better for everyone this way. If people start questioning one person on the team, they eventually start questioning everyone on the team. No one else should have to deal with the fallout of me not being human.
So he quit because he was worried about everyone else. But he looked really upset about it. I carried my books to the sofa, wishing I knew what to say to him. I couldn't imagine how he felt. The whole thing wasn't fair at all.
So what were you really doing this morning? Before Spencer found you?
He watched me spread my books out on the coffee table, then pick one to start leafing through. Oh. There was just some little creature caught in the fence. Some type of fae, I think. Danny gave me that look. The one that Allie kept giving me when I mentioned seeing something weird.
You didn't try to touch it, did you?
Well, it was stuck, so I...
Didn't Allie tell you not to interact with them if you don't know what they are?
I don't always do as I'm told.
I've noticed.
I can't ignore them if they're right in front of me, you know? I can see them. I can hear them. If they need help, it feels natural to help them. He sighed, and I knew that yet another lecture was coming.
I know you want to help them, but not all of them are friendly. And fae can be...
tricky. I know. I'm learning. I offered up my book as evidence of said learning.
Some fae are really dangerous.
I know. I just don't think of danger when I think of fairies, usually.
Their system of morals is so different that it can be hard to understand their motivations. Which is all the more reason to avoid them if you can. It's really easy to offend them by doing totally normal things. Or to open yourself up to being taken advantage of because you're unwittingly giving them permission to do it. Look at the thing living in your house. Its pranks are pretty innocuous, but you can't even figure out how Spencer made it mad. And they can stay angry for years.
You seem to know a lot about them.
Not a lot, but I've done a bit of reading.
He leaned a little closer and glanced at the door.
To be totally honest, I found Brenna almost impossible to deal with at first. I had to do some research just for the sake of my sanity.
Yeah, what's her deal anyway?
Well, she's a cat she. Some kind of cat fairy.
Read about it. Danny is a member of the Paranormal Mysteries Club and a, well, werewolf. Werewolves are a bit different than a lot of folklore where they're depicted as monsters and vicious killers. Seems like real werewolves are just people. People who happen to transform into wolves, that is. Alright, whole bunch of new journal stuff. A cat-she is a fairy creature from Scottish folklore. A cat-she, or cat-fairy, is a black cat with a white patch on its chest. Said to feed on the souls of humans, sometimes specifically children, cat-she are thought to be witches who can transform into a cat 9 times during the course of their lives. Hence the idea of cats having 9 lives. After the 9th transformation, they are doomed to see a cat forever. In reality, it seems like they might just be a regular fairy creature. Anything else? Man, lots of stuff to read. But not yet. More cat than fairy, if you ask me. Allie had called her Catty. I hadn't realized she meant that literally. But hearing Danny say she was a cat fae of some kind definitely connected the dots. Brenna was just really odd and mercurial. She could be pleasant one minute, then evil the next, then completely aloof a few seconds later. The only person she seemed to unconditionally like was Elliot, who she weirdly called Momo. What is their connection exactly? Is that his stepsister? And why is Elliot called Mozzie and Momo? I was just glad I didn't run into her often.
Anyway, speaking of research, how's it going?
It could be going better. I was hoping to answer a few questions I have about myself, Spencer, past events. I haven't turned up much.
Seems like a pretty difficult subject.
No kidding. There's not much on Fae who are raised human. And some of the things I've come across, Crimbles, changelings, and other things don't really seem to apply.
I'll read about that now.
Changelings are fairies left in a human household to replace a baby that is spirited away by the Fae. Changelings can range from being an actual child fairy to being an old fairy made to look like the human baby it replaces. Oh, sometimes they're logs. That version of the legend seems particularly cruel. A log is glamored up to look like a baby, then over time it appears to sicken and die, leaving the family to assume their child has died of natural causes, when the real child is actually alive and well and fairy. Crimbles are a type of fairy. They are left in place of human children and grow up isolated and alone due to their strange, misshapen appearances. They are known to have an impressive talent for music, though. They're a type of changeling. Interesting. I mean, I hope they don't, because then it would mean I'm part of some human body snatcher scheme or something, and that's just too distressing to think about. Not to mention the other implications of me not being me, and, yeah. Anyway, some of the things I'd like to find answers to are kind of hard to cross-reference.
Well, if you ever need a study partner, you can always just let me know. I'd be happy to help.
He gave me a sheepish smile and shrugged slightly.
Not that I think I'll be a huge amount of help, but 2 sets of eyes are better than 1, right?
Definitely. But don't offer unless you're willing to have me take you up on it, because I definitely will.
I never.
He pulled a book across the table and opened the cover.
So what exactly do you want to find?
I literally have a list. I dug in my book bag and pulled out the journal where I'd been keeping notes. He held his hand out for it, but I shook my head. You won't be able to read it. He gave me a questioning look. I opened the mostly blank book and held it up for him. His brow creased as he looked over the page.
What language is that?
A made-up one? Spencer and I made it up when we were little. Well, mostly I did.
You mean a twin language or crypto something, right? I don't remember the name.
Cryptophagia, yeah.
I thought those were just spoken.
Oh, they are usually. I made up the alphabet much later. We used it as a code for a long time. But after we moved, Spencer stopped using it. He said he forgot it.
So you're keeping your notes and lists?
Seemed better than my family stumbling on them and wondering what the heck it was all about.
Makes sense. So what's on the list?
All in relation to fairies or being fae, people going missing, amnesia, non-visible injuries, losing vision, stuff like that. There were also a few new additions, like sleepwalking, but I didn't mention that part to him.
So everything on the list is related to that thing 5 years ago, isn't it?
Ding ding ding! that's kind of been my starting point.
So you're assuming that incident is related to you being Fae?
Allie was the one who suggested it, really. I wasn't sure I believed it at first, but the more I think about it, the more it makes sense. You've heard the rumors, right?
Well, I mean, the first few days they were circulating quite a lot. People were talking about you going missing for 2 weeks and seeing a murder in the woods or something. I asked Allie about it.
I didn't know whether to be glad he was interested enough in me to ask Allie, or upset that that was the thing he asked about.
Is that why your brother's like that?
Basically, yeah. He went through a lot during that time. He was, honestly, never really the same. No one knows what happened to him that day. His version of events changed a bit over time. Initially, he said he was attacked by monsters, and, well, that I was one of them. And when no one believed him, he changed his story and said he couldn't remember. I don't think that's true. And you can see, he's still pretty angry and suspicious of me. Even now. Probably more than ever. I mean, maybe he really was attacked. Maybe it had to do with me. Maybe I did it, and that's why he... I trailed off and shrugged helplessly, looking away. I don't know why I'm bothering to look into it. It's not like it'll change anything.
Sometimes I guess it's more about peace of mind and closure than changing things.
Yeah, I guess so. But I still wanted to think it was fixable, even if I was telling myself it wouldn't be. All I felt like I was actually doing was confirming his suspicions that I was some sort of freak, though.
Hey.
Danny nudged my arm and I looked up at him. He was studying my face with a worried expression. It felt like all I was doing lately was worrying about things and making everyone else worry about me.
I'll definitely help you with your research, okay? Though, for now, class is starting up soon. Wanna walk to Lit with me?
Yes, absolutely. I smiled hesitantly. Sure, I'd love to. We were going to the same place anyway. I guess it would be weird to just not go together. I started to gather up all the books I'd gotten out. I hadn't done any reading, but I guess a conversation with Danny wasn't so bad either. He was nice. And attractive. I put my books away and went back for my book bag, but Danny grabbed it before I could and slung it over one of his shoulders. And a gentleman stopped my heart. I gotta figure out this guy. He likes genuineness, for sure. Like, he's a very genuine, open kind of guy. Has a good sense of humor. Very concerned. Very polite. He's also a jock. Trying to figure out, does he, like, want a girl? I mean, I'm sure he'd like her to rely on him, but he probably... Like, does he like a girl who's like, hey, I can, carry my own load, Not that I don't appreciate it, but... Let's try this. Oh. I held my hand out for the book bag. I can carry that, Danny just smiled politely.
I can too.
But it's mine, so I should do it.
Nah. If I can't do my morning workout with the team, I've got to get it in somehow.
My bag isn't that heavy. Danny just shrugged and grinned. I had a feeling I wasn't getting it back. I didn't really mind that he was carrying it, but I just like doing things for myself. I picked up my math and science books from the table and headed to the door. Well, I guess he's carrying it no matter what. It won't hurt to let him do it just this once, I guess. You win, this time. Next time I won't let you get away with that.
It's not terrible to occasionally let someone do something nice for you.
I know. It's also not terrible to do things for myself.
Fair enough. In that case, is it okay if I carry this for you just this once?
Well, I suppose it's fine. Just this once. He grinned in response to that and headed into the hall with me right behind him. Danny and I left the club room and started down the empty hallway to the stairwell. I shivered. It's always so cold up here. Which was weird since it was the top floor.
Well, I think it's largely because paranormal things gravitate to this floor.
What sort of paranormal things?
Ghosts, for one.
The school is haunted? Like, literally?
It is.
I mean, I'd known things were lurking around, but I hadn't really thought they were ghosts. Like, ghosts. Not that I really suspected there were other types of ghosts. I just assumed everything I was seeing was either fae or witch familiars or something. I'd known for a long time there were rumors it was haunted. I shouldn't be this surprised to find out they were true. We walked down the stairs silently for a few minutes. So riddle me this. Why is the club room almost always empty in the mornings? Aren't there supposed to be a lot of members? Or do you just not do club-related things in the morning? At my last school, club rooms tended to be a sort of hangout for the members, even outside of designated club times.
Well, not everyone is active. Some are just in the club because they have to be, or for protection. Not everyone gets involved in things we do.
What do you do?
Work for the agency? As an intern, along with Ali and Mozzie. Ewan's sort of an unofficial intern, I guess you could say. We mostly just do the easy stuff like go check on this or that. And some stuff related to keeping peace around the school.
Is that even necessary?
You'd be surprised. I mean, I guess people in general don't like following the rules. But when cryptics don't follow them, people can get seriously hurt.
Danny lowered his voice as we neared the bottom of the stairs where others might hear us.
The agency doesn't have a lot of time to wrangle high school students around, make sure they don't skip class or pull any dumb stunts that might expose the community. Even so, student or not, cryptics that cause trouble can't be dealt with the same way normal people can. Half the staff don't know we're anything but normal humans, so there has to be someone to step in and deal with it.
But why have other students do it? That's dangerous, isn't it?
It might be if we were normal students, but we're not. And don't misunderstand, it's not like the teachers don't help. It's just that we outnumber them by quite a lot.
That doesn't really seem fair. Danny just shrugged.
Well, we do get paid. Not much, but still. Hey, Dan. Long time no see.
Who are you? Are you his brother? Another werewolf? Like, you got a look, sir. Hello. Danny and I both stopped to look at the unfamiliar boy approaching us. I didn't think I'd seen him around at all. I wonder who he is. Who's all the boys? Excuse? Who's all these boys? A second guy fell in behind him and they both approached us, waving casually.
Hey, who's this? New friend?
Danny didn't look happy to see either of them, but they were both smiling in a friendly manner. Are they part of the wolf pack? I returned it tentatively.
I'll have to let you go on ahead, Nora. I need to talk to these guys. Sorry.
Oh, no problem. I'll see you in class. I started away, glancing back curiously.
Hey, you don't have to run off so quick.
He grinned and motioned me back.
Knock it off. What do you guys want?
I hesitated just for a minute, but finally left him there. Danny definitely seemed to want me to go. One of the guys slung an arm around Danny's shoulders and drew him down the hall. This is trouble. They definitely weren't a part of Danny's normal crowd. Maybe boys from the football team? They didn't look it, though. Except that one guy. He was huge. I couldn't help but wonder if they had something to do with the club, though I hadn't seen them around there either. There was really nothing else I could find out about it, though. Not at the moment. So I just left them there and headed to class, making a mental note to ask Allie about it later on. But I didn't really get a chance to talk to her for the rest of the day. I really needed to find out where she usually had lunch. In any case, by the time I saw her again, it was after an hour of mind-numbing reading in the club after school, and I'd already forgotten about it. How do you forget those two boys? I didn't actually remember until I was sitting on my bed toweling my hair off after my shower. I picked up my phone, but decided it wasn't worth texting over. I'll ask her tomorrow. I flopped back on my pillows and stared at the ceiling. Another day, and no answers. I definitely set my expectations too high. I thought I'd have stumbled on something by now. I heard the soft patter of feet on the carpet and rolled over, watching the little brownie make its way through my room. You know, this could be considered an invasion of privacy. It stopped and looked at me, chattering in its weird, twiggy voice. If I could actually understand what the heck you're saying, maybe I could ask you about it. You probably know a lot about fairies. It tipped its head to the side and apparently decided I wasn't interesting enough to chatter at anymore. Yeah, stop stealing Spencer's keys, you little cretin. It didn't look back before it disappeared into my closet. Don't make it angry. I really need to work harder going forward. No more distractions in the mornings. If Danny wanted to help, I was definitely going to put him to work the following morning. I was going to find some answers, even if it killed me. Though, hopefully it won't really kill me. You hear me, Spencer? Do not kill me. I went to go finish drying my hair so I could go to bed and forget about everything for a little while. I'd worry about it more tomorrow.